would like you to kindly mute off your mobile phone. And before starting, Minister Saito is to make his greetings, opening greetings. Minister Saito, please. Good afternoon. I am Tetsuo Saito, Minister of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism. Thank you so much for joining us today in the midst of your busy schedule and the heat of this season. I am also honored to have Mr. Kim Yontae, Secretary General of the International Transport Forum, ITF, here in Japan today as our guest of honor. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to him. The theme of today's seminar is Gender and Transportation, Gender Mainstreaming, which incorporates gender perspectives into policies and service delivery, is being discussed internationally. The idea is to scrutinize the different situation of men and women in all areas and to formulate and implement policies and projects based on these realities. Last year, in Iseshima, Mie Prefecture, I chaired the G7 Iseshima Ministerial Conference on Transportation, where we discussed the topic of making transportation accessible to all. And Secretary General Mr. Kim also attended. At this meeting, the G7 countries agreed that gender equity and equality are essential for strengthening the economy and the nation. In Japan, this year's Basic Policies for Economic and Fiscal Management Structural Reform for Women states that each ministry and agency shall take into account different impacts and needs of men and women in the planning, implementation, and evaluation of policies and projects in all areas. This is also linked to the concept of gender mainstreaming. A study by the International Transport Forum, ITF, it points out that there are differences in the way women and men use transportation and their needs. In addition, a survey conducted by a Swedish municipality found that while men commute to work by car for the majority of their transportation needs, women often use sidewalks for housework, childcare, nursing care, and other purposes. It also revealed that when it snows, 3 centimeters of snowfall can make it impossible for women to get around. In response, this municipality prioritized sidewalks for snow removal work, which do not only make it easier for women to go out in winter, but also reduced the number of both men and women who fell on snow-covered roads. In order to create a society where no one is left behind, it is important to understand the differences between men and women in the field of transportation and to provide transportation policies and services accordingly. In order to understand and respond to the different needs of men and women, it goes without saying that women must be better positioned in the transportation industry in view of the declining birth rate, aging population, and labor shortages. Thus, gender and transportation is an important theme for both society and the growth of its transportation industry, and it is an issue that should be promoted through cooperation between the public and private sectors. Today's seminar is attended by people who are involved in transportation issues from various perspectives, including business, government, academia, and the media. I hope that today's seminar will serve as an opportunity for you to consider incorporating a gender perspective and that the circle of efforts will further expand. Thank you very much.
Minister Saito, thank you very much. In opening this seminar, we would like to invite Mr. Kim Yonte, Secretary General of the ITF, to give us an opening address, who give us a great support to the opening of this seminar. Over to you. I'd like to deliver my speech in Japanese. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Kim Yonte, Secretary General of the International Transport Forum, ITF. It is a great pleasure for me to participate in this seminar on gender and transport. I'd like to thank the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport and Tourism for hosting this important event. The ITF is a transport policy think tank with 69 member states and hosts the world's largest transport ministerial meeting, the ITF Summit. For the ITF, gender equality is a priority. And it is a part of its mission to promote inclusive and sustainable transport and mobility. Historically, the transport sector has been male-dominated, with significant inequalities for both users and workers. Only 70% of transport workers are women, and even lower for truck drivers at 6% and airline pilots at 5%. The proportion of female decision makers is also low. In 2024, only out of 69 transport ministers of the ITF were women. In 2019, 13 out of 60 were women. Furthermore, women's mobility habits are also shaped by structural gender inequalities, leading to women-specific experiences and constraints. This is often overlooked in transport policy. However, as you may know, half of the population is female. Therefore, the transport sector also needs inclusive policies that include women and mainstream gender perspectives. This means policies that address women's mobility needs in transport planning and design and aim for a safe and accessible transport system. Neglecting women's transport needs has been proven to reduce economic opportunities and women's well-being, increase travel time and cost, and lead to air pollution and resource inefficiency. According to the International Labour Organization, or ILO, the lack of transport means could reduce the probability of women working by 17%, as much as 17%. Increased employment of women can bring greater economic benefits than increased employment of men. Closing the gap between labor force participation and working hours would increase the GDP of OECD countries by an average of 9% by 2060. As there is a shortage of skilled workers in the transport industry, it is crucial to utilize the potential of women. The focus should be on strengthening labor standards and rights, gender-inclusive recruitment, safety, and work-life balance for both men and women, to take equal responsibility for housework and child care. Social roles, available resources, and experiences with the transport infrastructure and services differ between women and men. So do impacts of policy and new technologies. The transition to a sustainable and technologically advanced transport system could lead to new careers, particularly in the STEM fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. However, female enrollment in the STEM fields is as low as 8%, and employment rates are low, and their probability of leaving the workplace is high. There is also a strong influence of social stereotypes, so gender-sensitive education and support from an early age is needed. In addition, increasing the status of women in decision-making in the transport sector is also crucial. International research shows that companies with more women in senior management positions have a better financial performance. With more opportunities to develop leadership skills, such as through quota system, women will have a greater influence on policies and innovation that shape the future of transport. Some countries have incorporated gender equality in all policy making, not just transport. Gender budgeting is one example. However, progress is slow. More integrated and systematic decision-making is needed, considering the interaction of different policy objectives. The ITF report shows that policies that address both gender equality and transport decarbonization can help achieve the net zero carbon goal for transport. To achieve this, not to mention gender analysis using the ITF Gender Toolkit and the stakeholder training, governments must create platforms to engage all stakeholders and share knowledge and good practices. The IDF approached the emulate for this event, which brings together a wide range of stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary General. Minister Saito must exit because he has an official work. And our next program, we would like to call upon Ms. Yukari Kasahara, Senior Policy Analyst, International Transport Forum. She will be informing us about what is happening within the world regarding gender perspective, gender mainstreaming in the international front. We are getting ready for the presentation. Therefore, please wait for a few seconds. Ms. Kasara, the floor is yours. Hello, everybody. My name is Kasahara, and I'm a senior policy analyst at the OECD's International Transport Forum. I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak here today. I will talk about gender mainstreaming in the transportation sector. So these are the contents which I will cover. First of all, within gender in the transport sector, I would like to discuss the characteristics of transport sector features, safety and security, and women working in the transport sector. So why are we taking this topic for the discussion point? So first, transportation is essential for accessing all social opportunities, education, employment, welfare. However, transportation policies do not bring the same results to everyone. Even if people live in the same place, impacts vary depending on gender, age, income, social situations. And numerous studies show that gender and social gender are important factors in determining how people travel. In most cultures, woman has more burden because he has to run multiple errands. She has multiple responsibilities, and their responsibility is much more complex than men. And these trends are almost the same, whether it is in urban area or the remote area or developed nations or developing countries. Gender mainstreaming included within the formulating policies could be leading to a better world within equality within the transportation. And right here, I am sharing the women's travel patterns. Women usually travels generally shorter, more frequent, more non-work related reasons during off-peak hours and multiple stops. This is because women have greater burden of housework chores than men have. Like she has to be taking her children outside from daycare or lessons, going to hospitals, shopping and running errands. Therefore, they have tendency to work closer to home in order to reduce commuting time. And they do not commute in long distances very often. And due to the gender gap in employment, job offers for women are rather tight. Therefore, the women tend to work part-time with various schedules, and women less drives the car generally. Women are more likely to travel with children, elderlies, people with disabilities, and shopping, therefore making travel even more difficult. Because of that, the needs for the transportation varies by women and men. And when the women are traveling shorter, walking or using buses could be their main transportation. And they would like to prefer a transportation that is usable to them. And they tend to select an inexpensive way of travel, therefore making it longer for them to travel. So taking transportation, like public transportation and walking, is much more friendlier to the environment, and from the CO2 emission, these transportation are focused now. And this package, so this is the OD investigation that is focusing on how people take the transportation, but they are more male-dominant questionnaires. So in Paris, even with a various different way of commuting, people can use this pass in various line, or else they can just ride within the 10 to 15 minutes range of the bicycles. So it's just only a kilo travel, but making it difficult for them to travel because this 1 kilometer with small children, three of them, within a very dense area and trying to park cars, what is the preferred transportation that women would have to have? And in the past, it was 2 kilometers, the initial ride for taxis, but was it also suitable for ladies? And this page and the other page is featuring based on the confirmation of Japan. However, we have been referencing the UK data in order to find out the patterns of Japanese women. And second of all, this is about safety and security issues associated with women's mobility. Feeling unsafe in public places, especially on public transport. There were too far many women experiencing harassment and other forms of violence. Because of that, women often choose more expensive private transportation as cars or their own taxis or paid dispatch services, meaning that they are paying higher for transportation. And because women are generally smaller physically than men, public transport facilities with handrails in a high position can be difficult to use and dangerous for women. So regarding these sexual harassment, this is the material from National Police Agency and Tokyo Metropolitan Government, especially the first harassment were mostly experienced in their high teens or low teens, and that could be a trauma. Therefore, we have to be including the questionnaire those younger generations. And regarding the fact that women's body size are smaller than men, some researcher pointed out that problem that safety tests are conducted only on standard male body type, and this is not only for Japan, it's in UN too. And this is now about people working within the transport sector. This is widely seen, however, it has been overlooked, partially because transport sector has always been male dominant. So the transportation sector has traditionally been a physically demanding industry, meaning that women are underrepresented within the industry. People working in transportation, 20% are women, and this trend shows no sign of changing. Women of executive positions are even fewer. Gender disparities by type of transportation occupations are existing too. Airline industry has a high female representation, but most of these are flight attendants or in customer services. It's only several percentage for pilots.
On March 8th, on the International Women's Day, we organized the event together with a corporate partnership board, and we talk about the barriers in transport sector for women. So children are suffering from the unconscious bias regarding the gender since they are young child, and many transport-related jobs require STEM knowledge, but very few female go to the science expertise field. And the career advice they get from the mentor and the parents tend to have the gender bias in the job areas. And also, even if you overcome these challenges and to aim for employment in the transport area, the recruitment exam exam are in favor of male, and they do not have the mentor and role model and the female colleagues. They are not uniform and shoes for female, and they find it difficult to continue to work. So those science-oriented film I met in the member company at the ITF event told me that those unfit safety shoes and the uniform would not be a trigger to quit the job, but if the additional trigger of a childbirth and a child care is added, that might be the reason to leave. So the females' voices are not being heard. This is the situation of Japan. The female workers in transport department is at this stage and at this level and less than half of the total industry. And the female ratio among the non-regular workers is higher than the male. So this is the situation in the transport area. On the left-hand side, this is the vicious circle. So we have to make sure that the decision making is made focusing on the sustainable transport to improve the infrastructure for public transport and the pedestrians and the bike, and a better opportunity for transport access. At the end of the day, a better income, promoting the gender equality. In that way, we have to change it from the left to the right. So the gender gap in the transport and the fewer female employment in the transport occupation, these aspects are overlooked, and therefore gender bias may take place in the transport policy and the services. For all the people to ensure the efficient and equitable transport policy, reducing the gender bias, and in order to improve the transport service for women and for everyone, it is necessary to introduce gender analysis in all the transport planning and policy making. It is quite clear what is necessary for mainstreaming the gender mainstreaming. First, to collect the data by gender. To do the analysis and embed the identified characteristic in the actual policy and the planning. And half of the population is women, therefore their participation in decision making and the policy planning is essential. And also the education and the community, from this perspective, some of the approaches will be needed, and also it is necessary to improve the labor condition and the environment. And this is the analysis tool proposed by ITF. This is the gender analysis toolkit. So this is the relatively simple tool to incorporate the gender-sensitive perspective into the policy and the project. This is composed of the checklist and the metrics and the questionnaire. So these are the checklist example and the metrics example. And the ITF published many reports regarding gender. So now I'd like to share with you the case studies of gender mainstreaming. In case of a Canadian government, they incorporate the preliminary evaluation as well as budgeting formulation stage. They incorporate the gender perspective, and they set up the gender unit in Department of Transport. In the UK, they facilitate the continuous improvement by issuing the gender-based audit checklist. And for more than 20 years, the annual transport statistics by gender have been implemented. Therefore, you can see the changes in mobility pattern associated with these changes of the social role by gender. Austria Wing, they have implemented gender mainstreaming in the 1990s, and based on more than 50 projects, they developed a gender mainstreaming manual for urban planning and development, and they made an improvement for mobility for pedestrians. Malmö City in Sweden, based on the fact that the women participation and the speak-up ratio in decision-making meeting is low, so they had a women-focused discussion, and they made an improvement in terms of lighting around the bus stop. The Umeo City example, they have an example of visualizing the some agenda in the landscape bus tour from the viewpoint of gender, and they make an improvement from the security perspective in the dark area. Kaumau City, the bus will stop in the area other than bus stop, and also make sure that the female will not be stalked by other passengers. And Italy, Bolzano's example, female discount for nighttime taxi was introduced. Tajikistan European Reconstruction Bank example, they get the female and the women, female and the male residents to keep the 1 year mobility diary and to grasp the needs in detail. Chile Santiago, they had an example of designing from the female users, and also based on the female characteristic of transiting across multiple transport system, they introduced the common settlement means across bus and metro, and also they introduced the online settlement from the viewpoint of payment security. Pakistan, Peshawar, they have the reporter desk at the bus stop, and they introduce monitoring camera in the bus, and they also install the direct call to nearby a police station and response by the trained staff. And finally, in the case of manufacturer, they introduce the easy to grip safe handle for the female with a smaller hand, listening to the voice of female and the people with disability and the elderly in developing the electric scooter. So we sincerely hope that we can develop the better transport for all by incorporating these various perspectives. Thank you.
ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Ms. Kazara. Next, we will be calling upon Ms. Mitsuko Tottori, President and CEO of Japan Airlines. From here on, we are to have a presentation from the panelist members, first starting with Japan Airlines, Ms. Mitsuko Tottori. Hello. So as introduced, my name is Tottori from Japan Airlines. Thank you very much for inviting me to this fantastic seminar. And today's discussion, this is about gender and transportation. And for myself, I will speak more than gender, the diversity, and speak about what we do at JAL Company and how we make efforts in order to make ourselves diverse. First of all, regarding our diversity and the view of the JAL Group. The reason why we treasure diversity, we have two reasons. First of all, there's diverse customers, therefore we aim to understand the values of diverse customers. And the customers have various diverse values too. Therefore, we have a strong feeling in order to respond to that diverse thinking. And the other idea is that creating value through diverse employees. So diverse employees will be bringing in their idea, and from various ideas they will discuss and to polish the ideas into the company's practice. So regarding our customers from the perspective of gender, please focus on the left-hand side pie chart. These are our passenger numbers. This is a total of the domestic and overseas, and there's around 40 million in total. And the ratio of female male is 30% versus 70%. And competitors have the same ratio too. On the right-hand side pie chart, this is about the breakdown of gender of mileage members. The membership counts around 30 million people, and among them, the gender breakdown is 50-50. So the reason of the split is probably the demand of having a business trip. Dominantly, the male customers have more business travel. That is our view. So that means the management of usual companies are mostly positioned by males. Japan Airlines is providing a gender-free or not gender-bounded services. And we have many attendants, the female attendants, therefore, utilizing their perspectives, we want to provide and comforting and peace of mind services to many customers. And in order to answer to variety of customers, I would like to introduce our one effort that we do. So as you can see, the air travel starts from reservation, and then you have to be selecting the services in flight, and then you have to go to the airport, you have to go through the in-flight experience, and then you have to go through ground transportation and then reach destination. So we have to go through all the journey that the travelers would be experiencing. Therefore, we will be thinking about various customers, maybe customers who might be accompanying little children, babies, or disabled people. And for all, we would like to provide an entertainment so that everybody can enjoy the air flight as much as possible. Currently, the number of inbound is increasing. Therefore, in the total journey, we'd like to realize a seamless and very convenient travel. Now, looking into our company regarding diversity, this is what we do. So, as Ms. Kasahara already shared, the air industry, although we are biased between some job roles, this is an industry where there is not much gender differences within the work. So in our company too, the people within the group consolidation, it's 50-50 of genders working for us. And for females having the position of the higher management, it is beyond or more near to our target of 30%. So we are very near that target. And within the Japan airline ground staff, the ratio of foreign managers count 18.1%. Lastly, what we are working on is, first of all, improving the environment so that many diverse people can contribute to our work. Because women have life events, but we don't want women to just forget or just leave their career because of their life event. We are now undergoing to revise over our system so that women can keep up with their careers. Second, we are providing a place for reskilling. For instance, the air staffs may be able to hone up their skills in order to have a planning mindset or else selling mindset, therefore, in order to expand their possibilities. And third point, we have been taking out all the pre-understanding that we used to have. For instance, on the right-hand side photograph, this is a snapshot of our employee who has disability of hearing, and they are trying out a trial of providing services in the flight. So it's not only females, but it is very important that various kind of employees can be able to look higher and aim for more high within the careers. So from various perspectives, and from the perspective of our employees, our company, and from the clients, we have been making an explanation. The important thing is the effort that we do and the idea that we are based on. This should be expanded within the whole transportation industry as well as in the whole society. I myself is a female, and I've been coming from the air passenger service provider, and I became a CEO. So before even taking this office, I would like to focus being myself, being a female, and me, myself, being myself. And I will also be always to be promoting the company too. So that is all from my side. Thank you very much for your kind listening.
鳥取様ありがとうございます。
Ms. Dottori, thank you very much. And next, now we would like to invite CEO Wheeler Inc. Mr. Shigetaka Murase to share with us some of the initiatives that is taking place at the Wheeler Inc. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. I am Murase from Wheeler Inc. and I am very honored to have this kind of opportunity. Due to a time constraint, I'd like to jump into today's main topic. So these are the three topics I'd like to cover in my presentation. First of all, our basic policy or way of thinking on transport, and the services for female we offered, and from what kind of environment have we generated this kind of product and services. These are the three topics I'd like to cover today. First of all, so as this is self-explanatory in this illustration, everyone will be able to enjoy the free mobility. That is what we are aiming for. So not only we are operating in Japan, but we are rolling out to ASEAN countries. So domestically and internationally, we sincerely hope that everyone will have a free mobility. So the child care or the dining out with family members and also hobbies, etc. Those pictures are shown here. How can we activate these kind of activities through the better transportation means? So by offering the services, I sincerely hope that the entire town will become the town of well-being, and the entire citizens will be able to enjoy the well-being through activation of our services. So in thinking about this, we put an emphasis on marketing. So we had a round table with the customers several times. However, not only just having a focus group interview asking their perspective on our product and services, that is important. But on top of that, for example, the gender, especially female. Not only a product that are offered currently, what are the potential needs that the customer would like to see? That is what we are trying to explore. Or in other terms, we can call it insights. We would like to identify their mindset or awareness so that we can expand the market. And what is the key in the customer's mindset to broaden the market? That is what we are doing. So this shows the changes in the number of users. Well, Japanese expressway bus or high-speed bus, the 55% users are female. So out of the total public transport, 30 or 35% are the female users, which means that the share of the female users in expressway bus is higher. In case of the expressway bus, there will be a higher percentage of usage for the leisure. The female share is 55%. But in our case, the female ratio is 69%. In the high-speed bus industry, we have the higher position. And on top of that, approximately 20 years ago, and then 10 years ago, during that period, well, 20 years ago, there was a higher share of male utilizing a high-speed bus. However, now we have been cultivating the market for female passengers. To be more specific, in the conventional bus, the market has been increased by from the 15 million to 25 million. So in the industry overall, we are promoting the various initiatives to increase the female users in this high-speed bus segment. What are the initiatives we have introduced? So when the female use the high-speed bus, how can we create the female-friendly high-speed bus so that they can feel this is for me? So the shopping area for female or male. So looking at the appearance of the shop, you can feel that this is for me or this is not for me. Just like those, we want to be particular about the appearance of the bus so that the people can feel this is for me. The high-speed bus will move between the major cities, and they have to move at the night. So when they make a reservation in odd number, they have to make sure that the female's seat next door is the female customers. In that way, we have to make sure the female passengers are sitting next to the female passengers, and also the safety and the security and the cleanliness is something we emphasized on. So could you please take a look at the video? So this is the bus both for a male and a female. So they can cover their face so that the other people do not see their sleeping face. Even if you make a reservation by yourself, the person sitting next to you will be always a female. That is guaranteed. And also we have this kind of image to invoke what you can do by riding the bus. So from the viewpoint of the purpose of usage of the bus, we want to create a more occasion for the people and the female to utilize the bus. And we are working on the regional transport and activities, so I'd like to share those examples. At the average, for a short distance travel from 1 to 1.5 kilometers, we were thinking about introducing convenient services. What is shown here is mostly the female in the child rearing stage or the younger women who do not have cars. These are our target and do the marketing activities. So maybe some services will be available for sending and picking up children and using the services for outing with family members or for shopping purposes. So we are making a proposal how this kind of services can be utilized, evoking the images of utilization. Recently, you may hear the term on-demand system. Well, the living sphere or the zone is in this neighborhood. So doing shopping, going to the hospital, or doing the child rearing. So these are the neighborhood of the people living, and they are circled in the map. And if you make a reservation, this is the ride share. And then the car will come to you to pick you up. So this kind of on-demand system is now being introduced. So at around 30 cities, this kind of services has been rolled out, and the voice of the customers are mostly similar, especially for people in child rearing. At the 5th grade in the elementary school, they say that they are happy because their children can commute by themselves. So I am efficient in mobility during the transit. So they say that they have more leeway for transport. So it was a hassle to move on foot and by bicycle. Now I am able to arrive at the shop I really wanted to access to. So there would be more mobility opportunity, and there will be more opportunity to actually visit the destination you were not able to visit in the past. So there will be a better circularity, and I think I am able to contribute to the invigoration of the community. So these are the type of services we are introducing. So between the cities, so as a transportation means in the community, in what way do we offer the services? Well, the long distance bus drivers number is not included here. So if we look at the employees, the gender ratio is a 50 and 50. So it is an equal split between male and female. And we have many new graduates, and more than 50% of new graduates are female every year. And at the managerial position, a little bit higher for male. However, almost the 50 and 50, or to be more exact, 60 and 40. This is the split for the managerial position. So they are involved in the management work as well as product development. Last but not least, so mobility is very important for the town building as well as the invigoration of a community. And from the viewpoint of a woman, so the transport needs to be developed in an equal manner. But when we look at this unique feature of a female, there is a higher possibility of creating new market. This is good for a woman. This is good for the transport sector. Well, 20 years ago, in fact, well, it does not mean that the male cannot put in themselves into the female's shoes. However, looking at the statistics and the data from the female perspective, we developed the product and how to convey those products from the female initiatives or female products. That is what we are working on from 20 years ago. Thank you very much.
村瀬様ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Mr. Murase. And now we would like to invite Ms. Atsuko Ito, Managing Director, East Japan Railway Company. She will be introducing her companies and how they treat the gender issues. Hello. So as introduced, my name is Ito from East Japan Railway. So thank you very much for inviting me to the seminar. And I am honored to be able to introduce what we work for gender mainstreaming in our company. So thank you so much for the opportunity, and let us go on. So at JR East, I would like to first summarize ourselves. As mentioned here, there are around 70,000 people working for us, and in the East, there are 40,000 people working. And we are working mainly within the eastern area and supported by the 12 offices, and it is 7,300 kilometers where we control, and we are controlling every day that the railways and the railway and the trains are running on schedule without any disruptions. So today we are discussing gender, therefore I would like to indicate how we work. This is on top the group ideal. act with ultimate safety as our number one priority, and as a group, we respond to the trust of our customers and enhance the power of our network, focusing on technology information to realize a fulfilling life for all. And we have 6 materiality for us to realize. Within that, for vibrant society and regional revitalization, comfortable cities, and a symbiotic society is what we work for. And also, we aim to work for all group employees to be able to thrive and engage. Other than that, this is promotion of DE&I and human resources development. This is what you already know, probably. So, for a vibrant society, railways and are always a lifestyle services, meaning that railways are always existing as a service within everybody's daily life. But we must be able to provide this service in an equal manner. Everyone could be utilizing this service in the same way. And as a result of this outcome, everyone can live together in the same way, which is one of the cases of symbiotic society. So you usually have the indication that symbiotic society is not a mixed juice. It's like fruits of every variety. Thinking about DE&I, this is diversity, equity, and inclusion. So whether you're a woman or whether you have some disabilities, you have to be creating a company utilizing or leveraging on these differences. That is related to inclusion. And plus more, provide an equal, inclusive workplace culture. So this is the equity part, utilizing the diversity. And every employee working for us will be able to use their capability and to be satisfied within their job and to provide a larger value, a new value to the customer users. And that is going to be supporting the growth of the company, and that will lead to the engagement. From here on, we would like to introduce our services, which is inclined to the gender perspective. So there are women-only cars, and when we started introducing, there were a lot of pros and cons. However, Saikyo line has been introduced in 2021, and this is almost becoming a normal thing. So any gender can be able to utilize a train in a comfortable way, and we have introduced carriers especially for women. And these efforts are, regardless of gender, we created some creativity, whether it be barrier-free or for the clients using the baby carriage or strollers. We don't want them to use narrow staircases or have hardship delivering around the strollers. Therefore, we created an exclusive area in order to place the strollers or use the elevators, etc., so that every people can be utilizing. And from here on, I would like to expand on the mobility part of our services. So stations are used for train users. So train or the station were always a hub for everybody to gather by in order to receive transportation service. But going forward, we are to become a platform, be changed into a platform so that we provide various platforms for everybody's day life. Used and connected by various platforms, we would like to connect with our users. And on the bottom, we have a picture of multifunctional locker. Right now, we have a multi-E cube around the size of 100 boxes in various stations, which includes functions for the lockers for reservation, deposit, and receipt and shipping. We've been targeting the logistic issues of 2024 to happen, meaning that so the shops that are open within the station, people might be going through the stations and be able to pick up their shopping. That is something that we have in mind of the use case of such locker. We're also starting the online medical interviews too. people are so busy and they lack opportunity to go to hospital. They must be picking up their children. They might be late from work, going back to home. Therefore, the medical services provided is providing services to female too. However, the female doctors, they might have also a lot of things to juggle. Therefore, they cannot work full time in hospitals too or at clinics. So in that case, they can be a part-time doctors through this online remote interview. And this is a career support services for working mothers. Working mothers have a lot of burden juggling work and rearing up children. So sometimes there should be a place or a space where people can share their difficulties, and this platform was developed by ourselves. And for this one, this is called baby car or bibikal, which means a station is now becoming a rental service hub for renting the baby cars or strollers. And then when people use it, they can just take it out and then bring it back to a nearby station. Therefore, to make females more active in life. This is working along with our corporate venture. We own a corporate venture. And with them, in order to refresh parents, parents can just drop off their children building adjacent to a station, and then parents could be enjoying lunch somewhere, and at the same time, the children could be enjoying some experience at the stations. So from here on, this is an introduction of changes in the number of female employees and managers in JR East. So it used to be that females are very scarce in the top management or even the workforce, and now it is growing by volume, but we still have yet to work for females to take the higher positions, the managerial position. But these were what we have been doing. In 2011, the 40% of the conductor for the trains are now females. And right now, we are within the third leg of the General Employer Action Plan in order to promote women's participation and advancement at the workplace. And this will be my last slide. Those on caretaking durations, so they are off working to work to not work, but during their times when they are working just for the sake of the family, they need to be connected to the jobs. Or sometimes we have an employee who have difficulties in rearing children. Their children may be sick or have some disability. Therefore, regardless of ages, we are open to have employees be taking some work off in several terms. So when I send out this card, name card, I'm always told that you are leading such a big, gigantic company. You're probably having big troubles. However, I always respond that we would be flexible. We would like to be flexible and be open to changes, and we want to be contributing to the society and send out a lot of messages. So with that, I would like to close my presentation. Thank you so much.
伊藤様ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Ms. Ito. From here on, we would like to go into the panel discussion. So today, as panelists, we have Ms. Totori, President and CEO, Japan Airline, Mr. Murase, CEO of Wheeler, and Ms. Ito, Managing Director, East Japan Railway. Ms. Akike, Co-Chair of Japan Boston Consulting Group. The moderator will be served by Ms. Yuki Tanaka, Director General for International Affairs MLIT. Right now, we are under preparation for the panel, so please do wait for a few moments.
はい、
Now the stage is ready. And now we would like to ask the panelists to come up to the stage.
どうぞご着席ください。
Please be seated. Now I'd like to hand over the microphone to Tanaka-san, Director General for Internal Affairs, Emirate. I am Tanaka, serving as a moderator for this panel discussion from Emirate. From the left on the stage, Ms. Tottori, and we have Mr. Murase from Wheeler, and Ms. Ito from East Japan Railway, and also Ms. Akike from Boston Consulting Group. Well, I would like to touch upon the relationship between gender and the diversity before starting the panel discussion. So for people living in a depopulated area or elderly people or people with disability, well, for all the people, accessible transport is important, not only from the viewpoint of gender. So half of population is female, therefore correcting the gender bias is very important. Incorporating the gender perspective does not hinder a service provision for the elderly people or the people with disability. That will be a step to have a wider discussion on the diversity. So paying to the gender, what should we do about the other discussion? But first, we would like to focus on the gender mainstreaming as a step to deal with the diversity. So why is it that the gender perspective is necessary? There is a gender difference in the way of mobility that was discussed, and this is related to the gender perspective. Starting with you, Tottori-san. So, as already mentioned, could you please elaborate on the gender differences and the usage of the aviation usage? As I mentioned earlier, as for the aviation industry, basically speaking, the gender neutral service is our basic stance. However, the 70% of the passengers are male and 30% are female. What is the purpose of using the service? It depends on the route. For male, mostly for the business purposes. For a female, other than the business, I would say the leisure purposes is for 50% among the female passengers. So in the flight, the ratio of female is fewer. How to ensure security and the peace of mind for female, that is the keyword, and we have to think about it in the aviation industry. Looking at the data, there is a difference in the utilization of the services in the aviation industry. So, Murase-san, so the expressway bus for a sense of security of females, that is the image. And why is it that you pay attention to this kind of service? Well, in Japan, the population is decreasing. How to maintain the public transport, that is being discussed. Even with the depopulation, seeing the increase in the users is very important. The way female move. If we pay attention to the way a female move, you will see the area where a female are not able to access to. So from that perspective, we can increase the users of public transport. So if we can increase the traffic, that will invigorate the community. And in the northern part of Kyoto, we run the railway business. And the key word here is that the young generation coming back to the community, that is the key. So by paying attention to gender, free mobility can be achieved. As a result, that will increase the local population. So there will be a connection here. So from this perspective, I'm trying to see things. Thank you very much. So by paying attention to the needs of a female, that you can create a new market as well as you can increase the users of a transport. Ito-san, railroads are used by both male and female. And could you please talk about the challenges from the viewpoint of gender? Well, business and the tourism, so the usage purpose is equally split, 50 and 50, and the gender usage is also equally split, 50 and 50. I myself is a woman. So from my perspective, whether there is a sense of security, whether the facility is clean in the station and the platform and the washroom, whether they are clean or not, that is important. For the child rearing generation, you have to use the stroller, and you have a bulky baggage for clothes for kids. So the female tend to have the bulky baggage than male. So the direct straight transportation is convenient without transit, and also ticketless service is also important. After privatization, so dirty, dark, and the unwilling to use the restroom, that had to be transformed. That is the first area we pay attention to at the time of the privatization. So we would like to think about how to make our transport system more accessible and usable from the viewpoint of a female. So female-focused perspective is applicable in the case of railroad. Now, away from the transport industry, well, Akeike-san, maybe from the user perspective, why is it that the gender perspective is necessary? So the people from different industry and from different industry, and as Kasahara-san mentioned earlier, so there is a high need for female to utilize the transport. Especially, there is an increase in the number of working women, not only during the day, but early in the morning and at night, they tend to use the transport. So first of all, it needs to be safe, and also there needs to be a peace of mind, and it needs to be clean and hygiene. These are the important aspects. And also how they dress and what they have carry is different on their way back. There are many errands that they have to run, so we have to give consideration to these aspects. So easier to use and higher satisfaction among female is comfortability for men in developing the new products and the services. I think this is true of the public transport. In accordance with the changes of a society, how the female use the transport has changed. They also use in the morning and at night, and that will increase the necessity for safety and security. That will raise the needs for safety and security. So there are differences between men and women in the usage of the transport. So if we look at the overall picture, it might be difficult to see the differences. But then, in order to capture the female needs in the transport services, what needs to be done? First, Murase-san, well, a female used the nighttime expressway bus. So long time ago, this was not intended for a female. I think it was a gender biased. So you are exploring the market where the gender differences is present. So could you please share with us your view? Well, first of all, listening to the female perspective is important, or listening to both men and women is important. As much as possible, we are trying to putting ourselves into the female shoes. However, men alone cannot understand everything. So the female, from the viewpoint of a female, from the perspective of female, open their mind to talk is very important. And especially, I said that we hire new graduates in the transport area. If you work for 10 years, you tend to have preconceived ideas. So when we listen to the voice of customer in a straightforward manner, so maybe the new graduates try to capture the voice of a customer with a fresh perspective to collect the voice of customers. At the same time, not only that, but we have to create the free corporate culture so that the people can freely express themselves. So we try to incorporate the female perspective, and we have to create a corporate culture or the flat organization where the female can express themselves, and also there should be an enabling environment where the manager can adapt those subordinates' perspective. Not It might be difficult for male to capture those needs. Therefore, there should be a venue for female to express themselves, and capturing the voice of the new graduate. That you are trying to capture the data and try to gather the needs. So, how about you, Ito-san? As I mentioned earlier in my presentation, in relation to how the stations needs to be built. Well, in different way, we have developed the stations.
So when the station spaces is usable or convenient for females, then anything related to females, meaning that the children will be having convenience using the station and their family members too. Therefore, incorporating the needs of the female could be just as third. However, it results out that all the users, all these civil people will be having an easy experience, convenient experience at the station. So first of all, we did start out opening shops in the station, but currently within the station, there are even space for learning, like we open colleges or else open and remote medical interview spaces. Therefore, we are expanding on the usage of the space within the station. And as Murase-san mentioned, there could be a market to incorporate various female needs. However, those are to be asking many things to the female outside within the society. Maybe that means female must be having a lot of decision making. Therefore, decision makers must be placed and be taken the position by females. Therefore, we need both efforts from the software area and the hard area. Thank you very much on that. So anything convenient for women could also be led to the convenience of other people. So starting with understanding the conveniences of female will be contributing to many, as you say. And in order to understand that and dig that out, the perspective of female is very important. And Ms. Totori, in the air industry, there's many people, flight attendants and ground attendants too. So how do you try to understand the data information from the perspective of female? So for all the passengers who have used us, we always have a questionnaire after the flight experience. And then we analyze by the age of females and males, and then ask them what was the difficulties or what they look for the value. We always try to confirm that, and then to try to use it in the future. Within that effort, those working at site, if they have anything that they noticed from the perspective of females, and then when it is linked to the customers, it is very interesting and important. For instance, the flight attendants and the ground attendants, female attendants, will be coming over to participate in the ground committee or the ground discussion. So all these information collected from their side will also be utilized within the usual operation too. Thank you very much. So in various way, you tend to collect the information, and then those information are led to leverage your daily operation. So once again, collecting information and data in order to improve yourselves, many companies are having a various creation. So Akiike-san, whether it be the importance of the collecting information or analyzing them from the perspective of gender and transportation, if there should be anything important to share, please do. So I've been listening to all the companies who are attending here, and they are now introducing what they are doing at the site. So I'm a little bit shy to share my understanding. However, for the regions, different areas, and generations, maybe information could be analyzed when those buckets and those itself is important. And in the case of transportation, by the administrational area, there could be some changes in the rules. And I used to be working within the transportation industry. I used to be owning my own company too. So but transportation is not just controlled from the administrative point of view. However, it runs through over the boundary of the administration. So the statistics has its limitation, although it has its benefit too. So just looking at the statistics, there are things that you cannot see that has been felt from the past. So statistics are needed too. However, we must think about the remote area, the unpopularized area, or else maybe within only the 1,000 people living within the area, there could be an area sparse with 1,000 people with a very large area, acreage, or vice versa. So those could be creating a different condition too. Or else there could be there could be a difficulty when creating a questionnaire that does not relate to the respondents. Listening and hearing itself is very difficult and takes time. However, you might have to understand if this is going to be. So you have to make a judgment whether responding to such a problem will be contributing to resolving the difficulties of the whole users or not. Thank you very much. So taking data and analyzing, you have to have some certain categories in order to collect. With that, you will be seeing totally different picture. For instance, the questionnaire is very important for the respondents. Respondents could be written from the perspective of female or male, and that itself could sway the answer of the respondents. So the question contents, it could be something sensible to think, and we have to think about the contents too. As far as I follow you, by having a marketing activity and by trying out anything that was unseen, invisible to you, then it will be relating to the improvement of gender and transportation. So in that sense, data is important. And you mentioned about having a female perspective within the organization and have the females make decisions within the companies. So going on to the next question, I would like to keep on discussing. Kasahara-san, for ITF, in order to implement the perspective of the females, you had a lot of work to do. And you already worked on various things. All the companies here on the stage are doing many things. Starting from Ito-san, I think many females are nowadays working more in the railway industry. So, what have you been doing for your initiative to realize this? Just when I have joined the company, I was always encouraged by thinking myself, I have to be as strong as my male colleagues. I think that was the age of everybody thinking that way. It was in the 1990s, and railways, there's maintenance workplace as well. And there, the maintenance people will have to be going through holding a very heavy jigs and then go underneath the compartment. Currently, females are now saying candidly that I cannot hold such a heavy tool, therefore, please make the tool lighter in order to be working. They feel very carefree about saying so. However, there could be some personnel who have some physical weaknesses within their bodily physicality. Therefore, those are part of the diversity. Therefore, now I am thinking that we could change the system so that people can be participating in many ways. And I just mentioned about baby renting system, baby car rentals. This is about having an idea, a new idea, and we started small with trials, and then now connected to the commercialization. Now it became a business. First of all, a male worker has been told by his spouse that I have to take the baby car, the stroller to the station and then travel for a very long time. And wife said to the husband, if I can have and rent a baby car at the station, then it will be so convenient. And because hearing that word, this male employee has been bringing this idea up as an idea to the company. And I was very happy. This is a plus alpha idea of a support for the civil society. So maybe I might just shy away from that. However, there was a great impassion and passion from the person who provided the idea, and supported by that passion, we are now expanding this business very widely. So the idea came from the husband, but the idea really came from the husband's spouse, the person who brought this idea, and the person who have taken up that idea was also a male within the organization, and that is very important as diversity within the company.
So, Wheeler, so you are developing the product for female usability and convenience. Could you please tell us some of the initiative you are working on and what kind of creative ideas you come up with? Well, I don't know. This is a creative ideas, but whenever we develop the new products, how to promote and market this product to female, how to brand these product, what kind of a design should we develop, and how to communicate these new products. When we think about those, female or family, well, this is the type of branding we should do from the viewpoint of female and the family. If this kind of branding is done from the female perspective, female are in a better position to communicate and to do the branding. So I'm not saying the female is better or male is better. So that we have to create the job or the task where the female find it easier to do. So that is how we would like to build the businesses or construct the businesses that the female are better positioned to promote. So I really want to hear the various initiatives from different companies. However, time is limited. but the one thing I would like to confirm is that we are faced with a depopulation, with a declining birth rate and the labor shortage. So for female to take part in the transport industry is important, but not only as a labor force, but to realize the gender mainstreaming, I think it is important to incorporate the female perspective. And now we would like to go on to the final discussion point from the different angle. So now the reason why we pick up the topic of gender and the transportation is that, this is the hot topic as already discussed in the ITF. So now we would like to pay attention to the situation in overseas market. Totori-san, the aviation industry is global. Therefore, in the international conference venue, there might be a discussion on gender and the aviation. Could you please share those with us? In aviation industry, not only gender-focused discussion, but beyond that, further attention is placed on diversity. But before that, the female empowerment also attracts the attention. In 2025, the female managerial position and the female workers' percentage needs to be raised by 25% compared to now. That is the target for IATA. So on a global basis, these are the topics that are being addressed with a high interest. So we would like to follow up on this. Thank you very much. IATA, this kind of goal is set in promoting this kind of initiative. Ito-san, so you are going to the overseas market for overseas IR, investors relation. Could you please share your thoughts? Well, 2 weeks ago, for 1 week, I visited the various institutional investors in North America, and I have some engagement activities or dialogue. Well, in the U.S., in some of the cities, not in all, in the public road, the autonomous driving has started, and I had an opportunity to try out this autonomous driving. My impression is that, well, with the 30 cameras, the security is ensured. But at the beginning, I had some doubts. However, I realized that the safety is featured. And late at night or early in the morning, when the people are not on the street. So rather than utilizing the taxi for female, I think that they have a more sense of security and a peace of mind if they can utilize the autonomous driving. And there is a social issue for the elderly people to return their driver's license. So maybe they can give an incentive and they can develop the specialized zone to promote the autonomous driving. So there might be the challenges to overcome, but from the viewpoint of peace of mind and the security, from the viewpoint of female, when we think about the developing the town, I think the technological innovation and advancement will be necessary, and the Paris Olympic will be starting, and there are many brick roads, and using the cane, and also on the wheelchair, people are on the street. There is a mutual help spirit. In the railroad industry, we are running the various mutual support activities. So we can learn a lot from overseas market from the viewpoint of mutual help. Thank you very much. The gender perspective. this has not been under the spotlight in Japan. But if you just pay attention to Japan, it might be difficult to achieve this significant paradigm shift. Therefore, from that perspective, paying attention to the overseas trend and the discussion trend will be a good opportunity to pose a question and to make a step forward to find a solution. Murase-san, I really wanted to hear a lot from you about the overseas operation, but the time is limited. Now I would like to wrap up. Well, under the theme of gender and transportation, we have a discussion. For the ultimate goal of delivering the efficient and equitable transport to all the people, we have discussed the significance of incorporating gender perspective as a first step. There is a difference in needs for the transport between male and women, male and female. So it is necessary to grasp the data and the information. So for the transport industry, there might be the hidden challenges in the area where everything was taken as a granted. So the transport industry needs to change their perspective, not only just gathering data. Finally, we would like to get the final thought from the today's panelists. There might be area that we are not able to cover. So what is your hope and the resolution for the future and final thoughts? First, Akike-san, please. Well, we were able to hear quite the interesting talk. So it reminded me once again that the better working environment for female works better for a male, and the comfortable and convenient service for female would be the better comfortable service for male. So there might be some services and products that were taken as granted. If they are improved in a comfortable manner, and that will help us maintain the transport infrastructure. So of course, from on-site, the good input can be generated. However, those in the management position needs to have a higher awareness and determination to transform the industry in developing the services and the technology, and to turn the company into a gender well-balanced organization, and that will lead to the diversity and the better development. Thank you very much. And next, Ito-san.
今の秋池さんの
So maybe I'm sort of overlapping what Akike-san mentioned. So it's not just about understanding without verbs and understanding each other. In effect, it needs great effort and energy. However, the diverse organization will have a great strength, physical strength. Therefore, if we come over and implement diversity, then we will be stronger. We will be able to implement a new type of transformation, which will also be contributing to the national strength. Therefore, the gender, and then even more further beyond gender, the diversity is something that our group would like to work on. Thank you very much. Mr. Murase, please. Including ASEAN, well, it's mainly about ASEAN, and there's services provided by ourselves in 5 areas. They're all regional transportation that we service. So right now, there is no solutions or answers for us how to combine what we do overseas for regional transportation and to incorporate diversity. Therefore, listening to all the panelists gave me an inspiration. The word female or woman within the transportation industry, maybe we might look into each issues and realize it and make it into a form or format is very important. Today, the title of the seminar was Gender and Transport. However, I believe that the city building or the community building and transport comes hand in hand, so we cannot separate that. And I think this is having a synergy if we work in this front. Thank you very much. Lastly, Ms. Totori, please. I listened to various voices, which was very inspirational. And I think somebody mentioned, especially when or to create and place that empowers female is very important. And looking at the seniors working at the front line, the predecessors' work will be supporting the younger generations to work within that front and employees having fun, and that will be felt by the users too. And when the female are empowered within the company, then people will be inspired to work within the company too. Therefore, this is going to be circular. Within this transportational industry, let us go on determined so that females will be able to work much more within the industry. And then people will think if females work so much within this industry, the transportation service must be good. So listening to and observing the changes of the time, we would like to incorporate the females' observations and perspectives. Thank you very much. Today we have been discussing on the topic gender and transportation during the panel. As some people mentioned, anything convenient for a female would be also convenient to male and other diverse people too, which will be leading to diverse society. On the onset, Minister mentioned about the research done in the Sweden municipality about paving away the snow that packed up on the paveway. So the municipality has been deciding for the convenience of the women utilizing the paveway. They prioritize shaving off the snow packing very first from the roads, and that contributed to the decrease of the falls for the pedestrians. And you just mentioned about community and transportation too. So today the topic was about gender and transportation. However, the community also should be connected to the transportation, which will create a virtuous cycle for the whole society. So today, panelists, thank you very much for sharing your information, what you do at your company, and sharing your insight. For the attendance today, I suppose you now understood why it is important in order to discuss the gender mainstreaming, and I hope this triggers you to think even more about gender mainstreaming. With that, I would like to close the panel. Thank you so much for your cooperation. We start our program. Next, we would like to call upon Mr. Takehiro Sei, and he is the person from the Policy Bureau of MLIT. He is to present about MLIT's initiative for gender and transportation. Mr. Sei, please. The floor is yours. As introduced, my name is Sei from the MLIT. I work for the Barrier-Free Policy Division. And today we are discussing gender and transportation. Therefore, I would like to introduce policies related to gender as much as possible. So today I would like to explain about the initiative taken by the Ministry of Transportation. This one is the major initiatives for gender equality at the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism, which is embedded within the national policy. Number one is about focusing on the barrier-free and the childcare nursing initiatives. The second is about increasing women's participation in correcting gender disparities, focusing on the working people. So first of all, let me explain about the support for barrier-free within public facilities and public transportation. For those taking children or those who are expecting babies, we are thinking about how they would be utilizing the transportation. And within the transportation and within the larger building, we try to make barriers free. In 2020, we have been creating the barrier-free access law in Japan, and after that, we have been making a criteria for various dimensions of the space and area and corridors, etc. For larger infrastructures, these are to be followed. And for already a standing building, we try to request the operator to follow the law as much as possible. For the infrastructures, for instance, we have a request in order to have the better infrastructures within the area, such as stations. For stations with the population, the traffic of more than several population, we have an objective to ask the operator to set the corridors or set barrier-free corridors, no staircases, etc. And these days, upon the travel-free, we are asking to pay for creating the barrier-free infrastructure. So those are already systemized. And asking to the operators, we are expanding the barrier-free area within the public front. For each of the individual transportation, it could be stations, it could be every other infrastructures, but it's not just only such each of the infrastructure being barrier-free. It could be about theaters, it could be hotels, and it could be other areas. If those are standing out within the community, the nearby roads should be also considered too. So to be able to have a barrier-free area for the whole environment within this area, and that would be efficiently and effectively raising the quality of life of users. And that will contribute to the community too. And that is included, embedded within the Barrier-Free Act. With the Barrier-Free Act, the official name is a law in order to promote the convenience of the disabled and the higher age personnel. So it does not mention very much directly about expecting mothers. However, it's not just about the criteria to just achieve this criteria, but we have other sub-criteria that we would like to work on and other objective target. And that was summarized into a guideline. Within this guideline for barrier-free, these subject the expecting mothers and others too. Those are clearly stipulated within the guideline. So it was 2020 where the law was created, and the criteria for the target of barrier-free is now becoming higher and higher. For instance, the station that needs to be improved has a criteria higher. It used to be that a station used by a traffic of 5,000 people per day has been the source of area where they need to develop. However, now the expectation became higher by the users. Therefore, the barrier-free request is now upon a station on the size of the 3,000 people usage per day. It's already 30 years after this law has been established. Therefore, various facilities are now very much normal, accepted by the population. It's not about the volume and the number of the facilities, and we are having a rise in the quality of the infrastructure. At the very left-hand side of the picture, it says a baby bed. So it does not show a real baby bed within the photograph. It just only shows the publications. So I did not mistake taking this photograph, but this is a baby bed in order to replace diapers of the babies. It used to be that this function was provided by users of chair wheels. However, and now we created one big restroom room in order for various people to use. This is called a multifunctional or multi-user toilets used by all for instance, mothers changing diapers for the babies or people using wheelchairs, etc. Or else having a family go out by cars, maybe they can also use the station lavatory as well. And usually there's a long queue before the restroom. Therefore, the people who is really needing in rush request in order to use a lavatory, we wanted to create one dedicated toilet that is also always open. So the multifunction restroom was created. However, we thought we wanted to do more better. Therefore, it's not only the multifunctional lavatories that we created. Now we leveraged and we transformed all the restrooms and added one more extra room to this so that many more people can use. So the photograph shows the very latest, newest lavatory picture. And onto your right-hand side, there's yellow and red shown on the photographs. This is an establishment of a nursery school in facilities attached along the railroad stations. So for wheelchair users, we used to have a wider area for parking, and they were able to place their cars at a station, adjacent station nearby. However, now when such a population increases, now it becomes congested. Therefore, the blue area, which is a very wide area, now we designated the area just dedicated for the wheelchair users. And for those people who don't need the very wide area for parking, we are now asking people to voluntarily use the normal width of the parking area. So as you can see, right-hand side too, these are for the disabled, and the right-hand too is for the baby car users. And as shown on this slide, mothers or parents using the toilet with baby cars and babies, we now set a dedicated room so they can use this free space at a peace of mind. This free space is designated on the guideline for barrier-free guideline. So we are now approaching various constructor and builders and owners in order to have such rooms. So I've been focusing on trains and buildings so far, but there are other creativities done in airlines and passenger ships as well. Even within the taxi industry too, the drivers are now going through training for child carrying. Therefore, the cabs can be utilized easily and a peace of mind for bringing children to nursery stores, etc. So in order for people to use this transportation at a ease of peace, it's not just about users' understanding, but we have to be gaining the understanding of the users and their surroundings of the users too. So on right top, we have a baby car carriage mark. This has been created with the department store, the transportation industry, and the ministry. We have been sending this sign to the JIS in 2015, therefore created this poster, therefore trying to expand the information that these areas are open for baby carriages. And regarding elevators, elevators are used by various population. And then when the area is congested, people might have to stay and wait for a very long time. So in order to ease that congestion, we have a wall paper indicating that people should be respected to others. And for the left-hand side picture, this one is a wallpaper says that they are these posters are encouraging the proper use of priority seating. This slide is set by Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism. So other than barrier-free activity at the school route, there are several area so that cars will decrease their speed in order so that the school route will be safer in order to have the children be protected. And focusing on ladies traveling, those were the initiatives that we have taken. And from here on, now we are focusing on female working within the transportation industry. So ratio of female MLIT is focusing on areas, especially where the females are scarce in working. Bus, taxi, and truck drivers are it, and the ratio of female are all under 5% for workers, especially for the new workers, and then we want them to stay within the industry. So especially for taxis, taxis are now introducing such as part-time worker and supporting the services for ladies to keep on working. And if the taxi company is making such contribution, the ministry is to support such company. They are certified. We call this Female Driver Support Company Certification System. And we created a seal so that this certification shown could be utilized and understood, expanded by others. So after the introduction of these support company certification system, 2 percentage point has been now increased by this poster initiative, meaning that females are working more within this industry. Maybe you might think just only 2% up, but this is a significant growth as well. This is a questionnaire that we have been taking. I would like to introduce the questionnaires. So the main subjective is the mothers who have a smaller age children. And regarding taxis, we asked them whether you are okay using taxis, and 23% said that they are scared of using taxis. And 21% have answered that if the driver is female, they would like to use more taxis. That was 21% of the respondents saying so. And listening to such voice, if the females are to become taxi drivers, then it could be expanding the business within the industry too. Now about trucks. The truck drivers, now we have nickname as truck girl. In short, in Japanese, we call them truck girl. We have been publicizing this widely within the Japanese community along with MLID and the truck industry in order to appeal to the females working within this industry. Especially, it's not the case that it's a handicap to be a female to work as a truck driver. And by having an area where the female truck driver can rest, then the drivers' numbers could increase. Here now the MLIT is creating and sending out information for driver recruitment information by All Japan Trucking Association linked to our information webpage. And by that, the workers within this front increased to 3.4% from 2.4%. For the operator who now are hiring more female drivers are that saying that now they have higher reputation and females are apt to be able to control the truck more better. So by having the females work more within their company, they say that they are becoming much more flexible and strong too. Within the car transportation businesses, both trucks and the taxis, the MLIT has been introducing certifications, which is about compliance with laws and regulations, working hours and holidays, mental and physical health, security and stability. So the Japan certification center is working on the certification, and these certified companies are publicized at Hello Work, the office for people to find jobs. So Class NK is working for the certification, and after this certification has been garnered by the organization says it has been helping them a lot. And now this is about the vessel industry. Here it is only 3% where females are working. In order to have more females working within the industry and have them stay within the industry, we have a project called Shine within the vessel industry. So here we create a project in order to invite various workers within the industry, including crew allocation improvement and focusing on reduction of the burden of loading and unloading work and improvement of in-house environment, which is about installation of women-only restrooms and private changing rooms, etc. So by this, the company who have employed such an initiative says that their working condition improved very much. Some companies has been working on to prepare for the child care rearing system. So before even hiring women, the individual private room for the workers are now ongoing. It's a hype now within the industry to secure the private zone for them. So it's not just about the female, but it is also good and beneficial for other crew members as well. And by such initiative, the female crew number is increasing steadily. So the vessel operator says that it's not just them securing extra workforce. However, by having the female workers, the workers have better control within the ship and then out of the ship too. So what we mean is that the shower had no rules for the users of the cruise before. However, after female has been hired to work within that area, now the rule has been equipped, and then now people are working in an organized way. The sexual harassment training also has been ongoing because female crews were increasing. With that, a deeper and stricter discipline is on board. So promoting women's participation in the construction industry is also done too. Within the construction industry, it's not about improvement of the workplaces, but changing the way of work too. It used to be that some works were considered just for men. However, now it is to be transformed into a work that anyone can do, regardless of whether they are men or women. So now we are asking the construction industry to have their work automized as much as possible. In the case of transportation, this is autonomous driving. So it is the equivalent initiative within the construction business. So it's not just about increasing the labor from the female side, but to change the way of work, which is quite necessary. So with that, this is what we do at the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transportation and Tourism regarding gender. Going forward, we would like to work even further for a barrier-free infrastructure and focusing on the working woman. And in order to do that, we will be working on the regulations and the rule preparations. Thank you very much for your kind listening. Thank you very much, Mr. Sei, for your presentation.
So now we would like to have closing remarks from Mr. Uchiyama, the Emulet, the Policy Research Institute. So Vice President, Emulet, the Policy Research Institute, Mr. Uchiyama, floor is yours. So, Emulate Policy Research Institute, I am a Vice President, I am Uchiyama. Well, everyone who deliver lectures and the presenters and the panelists, thank you very much for giving us extremely precious talk that we wouldn't have been able to hear without this kind of opportunity. I am very grateful. And all the participants, thank you very much for staying with us till the very end amid your very busy schedule. So looking back today's seminar, we talk about the gender mainstreaming, incorporating female perspective in transport policy formulation and the provision of transport services, as well as the introduction of an international discussion and overseas initiative. And from management, there was an introduction of a transport service initiative incorporating female mobility needs. And also there was an initiative of female participation in managerial position, as well as the initiatives for employees working in the transport sector. There was then a discussion about the future challenges and the outlook for gender and the transport. The minister said at the beginning, in order to create a society with no one left behind in the transport sector, grasping the gender differences, and it is very important to deliver the transport policy and the transport policy. And also, in order to deal with and understand the different needs between men and women in the venue, it is very important to further promote the female participation. So he also commented that there will be further expansion of a circle of initiative, and we sincerely hope that this will be a good opportunity to start the incorporating female position, and the further improvement of female positioning in transport industry is necessary from a viewpoint of shortages of labor and the declining birth rate. So I sincerely hope that this will be a good opportunity for you to share the current status on gender and the transport. I hope this will be a good opportunity to think about the transport and the gender. I hope this will be a fruitful thought. And from the Emulate and Policy Research Institute, together with ITF, we would like to conduct the research from the viewpoint of mainstreaming of gender. So regarding the questionnaire, Dr. Marion Lagadic told us that she would like to get feedback so that that can be incorporated into her future research work instead of unilaterally delivering her speech. So I'd like to ask for your cooperation in filling out a questionnaire. With this, I'd like to conclude my speech. Thank you. Mr. Uchiyama, thank you very much. With this, we have covered all the program items, and thank you very much for your participation.